Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen and enjoy my stories every day. The air was crisp, tinged with the anticipation of spring as my wife, Ella, and I prepared for another routine dinner with friends. It was supposed to be a pleasant evening, a gathering of close friends, good food, and the usual catch-ups. However, the night unfolded into anything but ordinary. "Ready to go, love?" I asked, adjusting my tie in the mirror. Ella nodded, her reflection a picture of elegance. She clipped on a necklace, its silver chain glinting under the bedroom lights, the pendant a vibrant amalgamation of gems that danced with colors. "That's new," I commented, nodding towards the necklace. "Looks expensive." "A gift," she replied simply, offering no further explanation as she swept past me, her perfume a trailing whisper of floral notes. We arrived at the restaurant, a cozy place known for its intimate atmosphere and secluded booths. Our friends, Jack and Marianne, were already there, waving us over. As we approached, my best friend, Tom, entered the restaurant. He paused for a moment to greet us, his gaze inadvertently falling on Ella's necklace. "That's a stunning piece," Tom murmured, his voice barely a whisper meant only for me. "I bought the exact same one for our boss's mistress. It was a limited edition, 378 out of 500. His words hung heavily between us, charged with an unspoken implication. I forced a smile, clapping him on the shoulder as we joined the others. The evening progressed with laughter and lively conversation, but Tom's revelation gnawed at me, casting a shadow over the festivities. Throughout dinner, I found myself stealing glances at Ella's necklace. The number, if it was indeed there, would be tiny, almost invisible to the naked eye unless one knew exactly where to look. My mind raced with possibilities and suspicions, each more unsettling than the last. As the evening wound down, the opportunity presented itself. Ella excused herself to the restroom, leaving her purse, and with it, the necklace which she had removed just before dessert, unattended. My heart pounded as I reached for the purse, my fingers trembling slightly as they found the cool metal of the chain. 378/500, the tiny engraving confirmed my worst fears. I sat back, a hollow feeling settling in my stomach. Tom noticed my distress and joined me, his expression somber. "Did you check?" he asked quietly. I nodded, unable to articulate the turmoil inside. "It's hers. The same one." Tom's hand clapped onto my shoulder, a silent show of support. "What are you going to do?" Revenge, a cold, calculating desire, began to take shape within me. "I'm not going to divorce her," I said slowly, my voice steady despite the chaos inside. "I'll break her, just as she broke me." Tom didn't ask for details, he simply nodded, understanding perhaps the depth of betrayal I felt. We rejoined the group, my facade intact, but beneath it, a plan began to form. One that would unravel in the days to come, a scheme driven by hurt and the burning need for retribution. As we drove home, Ella chatted about the evening, oblivious to the storm brewing beside her. I smiled when needed, my responses automatic. Tonight had revealed a painful truth, and from its ashes, a dark resolve had been birthed. Ella, the woman I loved, was not who she seemed. And she would never see me the same way again. The morning after the dinner was quiet, too quiet. The sun filtered through the curtains, casting light on truths I wished remained hidden in the shadows. Ella was her usual self, humming softly as she made coffee. The normalcy of it all stung sharply. How could she act as if nothing had happened? As she set the breakfast table, my phone buzzed. It was Tom. "Meet me at the park, ASAP. We need to talk strategy," his message read. I tucked the phone away, glancing at Ella. "I need to step out for a bit," I said, my voice neutral. She nodded, barely looking up. "Everything okay?" "Work stuff." "Won't be long," I lied, the deceit tasting bitter on my tongue. At the park, Tom was already waiting, his expression grim. As I approached, he shook his head slightly. This is messed up, man. Are you sure you want to go through with this? I sat beside him on the bench, my resolve firm. She has to know what it feels like, Tom. To have her perfect little world shattered. We sat in silence for a moment, the weight of my words hanging between us. Then, Tom cleared his throat. Okay, if you're set on this, we start by gathering intel. We need to know everything, her routines, her secrets, the extent of her affair. How do we even get that information? I asked, unsure of the logistics. Tom tapped on his phone, pulling up a contact. I know a guy, an investigator. He can track her movements, get us the evidence we need. Do it, I said without hesitation. The next few days were a blur of whispered phone calls and clandestine meetings with the investigator. Each new piece of information was a blade twisting deeper into my heart. Ella's affair wasn't just a fling, it was a calculated betrayal, spanning months. One afternoon, I received a text from the investigator with a video attachment. It was a footage of Ella, laughing as she entered a hotel with another man, our boss. My breath caught in my throat as I watched them disappear into an elevator, her hand reaching up to touch his cheek fondly. That evening, Ella returned home, smiling as she kissed my cheek. How was your day? She asked, unaware of the storm brewing inside me. It was enlightening, I managed to say, my voice calmed despite the turmoil. She looked at me, a flicker of confusion crossing her features. Is everything okay? Never better, I replied, my smile tight. We need to talk about our upcoming anniversary. Maybe a trip somewhere. Her face lit up, the suggestion distracting her from my earlier tone. That sounds wonderful. I'll start looking into places tonight. As she turned to her laptop, excitement bubbling from her, I knew this was the beginning of her end. I would plan the perfect anniversary, a trip that would unveil her deceit and break her, publicly and devastatingly. The wheels were in motion, and there was no turning back. As the days edged closer to our anniversary, the plans for our trip took shape, an elaborate facade that hid my true intentions. We would be going to a luxurious resort, one famed for its seclusion and beauty, a seemingly perfect place to celebrate years of marriage. Yet, beneath the surface, the plot to reveal Ella's betrayal was tightly woven, ready to be unraveled. Ella, oblivious to the storm on the horizon, threw herself into the preparations with enthusiasm. I can't believe how perfect this is going to be, she gushed one evening, scrolling through pictures of the resort on her laptop. You've outdone yourself this time. Only the best for us, I replied, my voice smooth, hiding the bitterness that laced my heart. I kept in touch with Tom, who coordinated with the investigator to ensure that all pieces were in place. Everything set for the big reveal, Tom confirmed over the phone. Are you sure you're ready for this? There's no going back after this. I'm ready, I said firmly, though a part of me trembled at the impending fallout. The day of our departure arrived. At the airport, Ella linked her arm through mine, her smile bright and carefree. If she sensed my tension, she gave no sign. Upon arriving at the resort, the beauty of the place almost made me falter. Palm trees swayed in the gentle breeze, and the ocean whispered promises of forgotten peace. But then I remembered the cold truth of her deceit, and my resolve hardened. That evening at dinner, under the soft glow of lanterns, I watched Ella laugh and reminisce about our past anniversaries. My heart ached with a mix of sorrow and anger, emotions I kept firmly under lock. As dessert was served, I excused myself. I have a surprise for you. Wait here, I said, my tone leaving no room for protest. In our room, I made the final call to the investigator. It's time. Send the video to her phone now. Returning to our table, I found Ella still enjoying the serene view. Sitting down, I watched her closely, waiting for the moment her phone would buzz. And then it did. Her casual reach for the phone turned into a tense grip as she viewed the video, the undeniable evidence of her infidelity. Her face drained of color, eyes wide with shock and fear as she looked up at me. "Why," was all I could muster, the hurt evident in my voice. Ella opened her mouth, words failing her as tears filled her eyes. I don't know what to say." "Who is he?" I asked, though I knew all too well. "It doesn't matter now," she whispered, her voice breaking. "I'm so sorry, I never wanted to hurt you." The coldness in my heart spread, chilling my words. "You should have thought of that before. This anniversary will be our last. I want you out of my life, Ella. I'll make sure you leave with nothing." She sobbed, her hands shaking as she tried to speak. But I stood up, my decision irrevocable. Walking away from the table, I left her there amidst the shattered pieces of our marriage. The plan had been set in motion, and there was no turning back. Ella's betrayal was out in the open, and my revenge was complete. But as I walked alone, the weight of what I had done, and what I had lost, began to sink in. The night air was thick with tension as I walked away from Ella, her cries echoing faintly behind me. I felt the finality of our parting with each step I took, a mix of liberation and profound emptiness consuming me. The deception was laid bare, and the gulf between us was now insurmountable. Back in our room, I packed my belongings, my movements robotic. As I zipped the suitcase, my phone rang. It was Tom, his voice urgent. "Did you go through with it?" he asked. "It's done," I replied, the words hollow. "She knows everything." "Good. But there's more. You need to see what I've just sent you." "It's about your boss," Tom added, a hint of disgust in his tone. I opened the email he had sent, and my blood ran cold. Photos and documents filled my screen, evidence of my boss's extensive criminal activities, from embezzlement to bribes. And there, among the files, was proof that he had manipulated Ella into the affair, threatening her career. The revelation was a cruel twist, a knife turning in an already painful wound. My rage, once directed solely at Ella, now found a new target. I called Tom, my voice icy. "Set up a meeting with him. It's time I paid our boss a visit." The next day, under the guise of discussing company matters, I confronted him in his office. He greeted me with a smirk, unaware of my knowledge. "Let's get straight to business," I said, my tone deceptively calm as I slid the documents across his desk. His smirk faltered as he scanned the contents. "Where did you get this?" "Does it matter?" I countered sharply. "What matters is what I plan to do with it." His face paled, realizing the seriousness of his predicament. "We can work something out," he stammered, a note of desperation creeping into his voice. "No," I cut him off. "There's no way out for you this time." I left his office with the satisfaction of knowing his career and life would crumble just as he had helped ruin mine. But the victory was bittersweet, tainted by the betrayal of those I had once trusted. My next and final stop was to see Ella. I found her at the resort, still a picture of misery. The sight of her, so broken, stirred something in me, but the anger was too deep, the sense of betrayal too acute. "Ella," I began, my voice steady despite the storm inside. "I know about him, about the threats. But it changes nothing between us." She looked up, hope flickering in her eyes. "I was so scared. I thought I could protect." "You thought you could lie," I interrupted. "Whether coerced or not, you allowed us to be destroyed." Tears streamed down her cheeks, her body trembling. "I am so sorry, I truly am. Can we ever get past this?" "No," I said flatly. "It's over, Ella. We're done. I can't look at you without seeing the betrayal. I want you out of my life. Forever." Turning on my heel, I left her there, the finality of our parting marking the end of everything we had built. As I walked away, the weight of my actions, my ruthless revenge, weighed heavily on me. I had achieved retribution, but at what cost? The realization hit me then, sharp and unyielding: I had not only broken their lives but in the process, had lost myself. My heart, once capable of love, now harbored only bitterness. The last look on Ella's face, a mix of sorrow and brokenness, would haunt me, a ghostly reminder of the cost of revenge. As I left the resort, the echoes of our shattered past ringing in my ears, I knew this was not just a departure from Ella, but from the man I had once been. The path ahead was uncertain, shadowed by the ruins of what had once been, with the harsh truth that some deceptions cut too deep to ever fully heal.